So I found it hilarious when Bernie Sanders' capitulation to the Democratic establishment blows up in his face, as it so often does. A previous example of this is for how the duration of his term, the Democrats red-baited President Trump so much, Joseph McCarthy would probably be jizzing in his pants if he could witness it. And Bernie Sanders was going right along with it. No matter how much evidence came out conflicting with and debunking the Russiagate conspiracy theory against President Trump, only to have the establishment Dems boomerang the Russiagating right back at him when he grew to become the clear frontrunner overshadowing the establishment's choices during the Democratic presidential primary. Even then, instead of defending himself and denouncing the McCarthy smears, he doubled down, shooting himself in the foot.
Of seeing Russia and other countries interfering in our elections. The intelligence community has been very clear about it. Whether Trump recognizes it or not, or acknowledges it or not, they did interfere in 2016. The intelligence community is telling us they are interfering in this campaign right now in 2020. And when I say to Mr. Putin, if elected president, trust me, you are not going to be interfering in American elections.
Senator, when were you briefed on this?
I'm guessing about a month ago.
And what are you going to do now that you know this?
Well, it was not clear what role they're going to play. We were told that Russia, maybe other countries, are going to get involved in this campaign. And look, here is the message to Russia: stay out of American elections. And what they are doing, by the way, the ugly thing that they are doing, and I've seen some of their tweets and stuff, is they try to divide us up. That's what they did in 2016, and that is the ugliest thing they're doing. Is they are trying to cause chaos, they're trying to cause hatred in America. It's an ugly business, and all of us have got to say, sorry, you're not going to do this in this election. And again, as President of the United States, Mr. Putin, you will not interfere in our elections.
And if this came out a month ago, how did you think it came out now, if you had the briefing a month ago?
Well, I'll let you guess about one day before the Nevada caucus. Why do you think it came out? Was the Washington Post? Good friends.
It took a real leader, again, I will say, a real leader like Tulsi Gabbard to call out call bullshit on the smear. Then you have Bernie outright lying recently about Kamala Harris's record and his continued sheep herding of his followers into the Democratic Party. Which finally gets me to this video I peeped earlier of President Trump dropping another bomb blowing up tremendously in the face of Bernie, Joe Biden, and the Democrats. Check it out.
We have a tremendous base. They don't. They have no enthusiasm for their candidate because, frankly, Bernie Sanders, they have much more enthusiasm for him. But Bernie Sanders, excuse me, again, he's the greatest loser I've ever seen. This guy can lose and be so happy. Hillary Clinton, I want to use nice language, so I don't want to use a certain word. It starts with the word S-C. I don't want to use it because they'll say he used foul language while in North Carolina, so I won't do that. But Bernie Sanders got taken advantage of, is that okay? By Hillary Clinton, but worse, by the Democrats this time. Because if Pocahontas, Elizabeth Warren, got out of the campaign one day prior to the Super Tuesday vote, Bernie Sanders would have won every single state because Biden won by a little bit, and she didn't do well, but she took thousands and thousands of votes away in each state. If you add just a percentage of those votes back, that means that Bernie would have won easily the nomination. And I'm glad he didn't because he had much more enthusiasm. Yeah. And he would have had a base, much smaller base than ours, but equally, I have to say this, equally as enthusiastic. This base doesn't like Joe Biden. They don't like Joe Biden. Right. I think we're going to get a lot of votes. We did last time. People were surprised, primarily because of trade, because I know how other countries take advantage of us, and I understand that. And that's something that Bernie Sanders people really feel, because I understand trade.
Unfucking believable, right? How in the fuck does Donald Trump understand that the Democratic Party fucked Bernie out of the nomination this year again, but everybody else whose job it is to understand and report that fact doesn't? Now you understand why when Donald Trump says fake news, he's not lying all the time. Trump's doing it for political reasons, of course. Like, I'm not denying that. The Democratic Party and mainstream media isn't doing it because of corruption. manufacture consent. They are paid to tell you Joe Biden is a more viable candidate, even though polling data said otherwise. And Trump even understands the populist overlap of Bernie supporters and his supporters. And the commonalities of those two groups are not racism, sexism, or any other bullshit reason the mainstream media cooks up. It's populist policies like single payer, strong unions, ending the wars, legalizing marijuana, and getting money out of politics, and many other policies I can name. And if Trump understands that, best believe the Democrats and the establishment does as well. They just don't care because they're fucking corrupt. The only untrue thing he said was how a lot of Bernie supporters voted for him, which the data doesn't reflect that statement, with only around 12% of people who voted for Bernie in the 2016 primary going on to flip for Trump. Whereas the more interesting data statistic is that 25% of Hillary voters flipped to vote for John McCain in 2008.
Oops.
But you don't hear anybody calling her a traitor to the party. But the even greater point people are missing is that Trump, for a second, just a second, admits, then of course has to backpedal immediately, that Bernie would have more than likely beat him in 2016.
That means that Bernie would have won easily the nomination. And I'm glad he didn't, because he had much more enthusiasm. Yeah. And he would have had a base, much smaller base than ours, but equally, I have to say this, equally as enthusiastic.
Oops.
And again reiterates a point he made previously that Bernie is just as good, if not better than him on the issue of trade, which again was a major thing people voted on in 2016. So in closing, I was never a big Bernie supporter. I was planning on voting for Tulsi. And a quick side note, man, it would have been amazing if Bernie won the 2020 primary and picked Tulsi as his VP. They would have crushed Donald Trump, and it would have been a more fulfilling convo about VP picks rather than an empty, vapid corporate shill that is Kamala Harris. But I digress. Bernie was not my favorite candidate at all, but I would have voted for him because of his policies. But him bending the knee to the party awakened me fully to the fact that, frankly, Bernie Sanders is a pussy who yields to power every time and is not fit to lead because of that. And those who still defend him while he props up the corrupt establishment have forgotten the words Bernie himself once uttered. This movement is not about me, but us. And he's betrayed us. And just like it's time to move on from the two-party system, it's about damn time to move on from Bernie Sanders, who's allowed to exist solely to stifle the uprising of a new populist party and movement. And I will say again, the movement is not about Bernie, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, any of them, or any sole politician. Fuck them. It's about us, we the people. And it's time we the people craft and support for just that. A party for we the people. And you know, man, just like, it's crazy, man. Like, people get so caught up in politics and their own bias and shit like that. Like, you know, just a quick history with me in politics. Like, I woke into politics about a year or two ago. You talked to me in 2016, I would have said I'm voting for Hillary because, she was Obama's secretary and Obama was the greatest president ever. God damn, I hate, now that I think about that. Fuck, I was fucked up, man. But, to around 2018, 19, full-on Trump supporter, based upon policy, not the fuckery. Like, I would be one of those apologists, like, well, you just got to ignore the crazy stuff, to now, like, understanding policy and what this country needs. And, seeing the clear, like, when it comes to healthcare especially, like, the rest of the world has figured it out. Single payer is the way. Why are we still bumbling the fuck around? Oh, we're bumbling the fuck around because of corruption. And Donald Trump has become part of that corruption. So, yeah, but it's just, it's crazy that somebody like Donald fucking Trump, who people keep calling, they keep calling him dumb or a political novice, understands this shit. And fucking CNN, MSNBC, even Fox News doesn't. The only people I hear talking about this shit on Fox News is really not even person. It's the sole person is Tucker Carlson. That's it. And even he has to backtrack sometimes because he's a fucking biased hack too. So I like some of the things he says, but then he just says it's like Rand Paul. Like, when it comes to the right and conservatives, some of the people I like Josh Hawley. I used to like some of the shit Tom Cotton says, and so he went full Nazi with the release the National Guard shit. But Josh Hawley was somebody I respected, especially when he supported Pramila Jayapal's bill during the COVID. It was her paycheck, not paycheck protection, but wage guarantees, which is what Germany is doing. Another one I support, Mitt Romney, of all people, was supporting a UBI during the pandemic. Of course, we found out it was for ulterior motives, but he was supporting it, went out and marched with some of the Black Lives Matter protesters and everything. And also somebody like Rand Paul. Like Rand Paul is somebody that I really was respecting, but then his RNC speech, I'm making a video about that. That's going to post later on. But makes this dumbass speech about Trump. Like literally it sounded like Bernie talking about Kamala, but it was Rand Paul talking about Trump. Just all this fucking lying shit. And then you wonder why people run up on you in the streets, because you're a fucking liar, bro. So you know, I'm not one of those people that says fuck conservatives and shit like that. There's some conservatives that understand what we need in this country. They may not agree with you know, with me on or us, you know, more left-leaning progressives on the populist side, but it's like they understand, you know, just not the minute things they don't agree with, but that can be worked out. We just got to get over this partisan shit. And Bernie Sanders, who's somebody that people thought he was going to be somebody that would help us with that, is not helping us. He's doubling down on the two-party system. How the fuck are you an independent and you rep for the Democrats so hard body, bro? Get the fuck out of here, bro. So I'm done with Bernie, bro. I've been done with Bernie. Y'all niggas need to get over Bernie. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up because it's like it makes me mad. Like, yo, it's not about him. It's about the movement. So I'll end my little rant there. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and share. Emphasis on the comments and emphasis on that like button as well. Lets YouTube know that you like my videos and everything. And I want to shout out the People's Party again, man. I'm posting a video that's coming soon. You know, I'm doing a little review. I like to marinate my thoughts on it. You feel me? I'm not one of those people that just jumps on the hot shit. So yeah, thanks for tuning in again. And as always, you know, peace. Be easy.